This is Jarrod Horak, and it is Thursday, October 10th, and this is my latest Breeders' Cup Classic news video. And the Grade 1 $7 million Breeders' Cup Classic is going to be held at Del Mar later this fall, Saturday, November 2nd, 2024. Now, the Classic this year could have as many as 20 pre-entries. Now, 14 horses can run, and we have some horses that already earned spots in the Classic starting gate. They captured win and you're in races for the Breeders' Cup Classic, and those horses are Arthur's Ride, City of Troy, Highland Falls, Mixto, and then Subsanador. So they all won those win and you're in races, guaranteeing them a spot in the starting gate in the Classic. And then we have some horses that accumulated enough graded stakes points to run in the Classic. And leading the pack there, Leone. He's been very consistent for trainer Chad Brown, finishing in the top 3 in all 6 of his starts this year. And then right behind him, Fierceness, your Travers Stakes winner. He's got enough points to run. And then Seize the Gray, he has the same points total as Fierceness, but his connections are also considering the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile. We'll have to see which race they decide to go for. And then the remaining Classic runners are going to be selected by a Breeders' Cup panel of racing directors and racing secretaries. Now, the first Breeders' Cup pre-entry deadline, that'll be October 21st. And at that time, horses can be pre-entered in 2 races. And then the pre-entry fields are going to be announced 2 days later on October 23rd. And then we have a second entry deadline. That's the final entry deadline, October 28th. And at that time, horses may only be entered in 1 race. So that's the final entry phase. And then if we have 14 horse fields, 4 also eligibles are allowed. And in 12 horse fields, 6 also eligibles are allowed. Scratch time is 8 a.m. the day of the race. And the Breeders' Cup, the 2-day Breeders' Cup this year, Breeders' Cup Friday and Saturday, November 1st and 2nd at Del Mar. And then my annual 2-day Breeders' Cup full card analysis is going to be available later this fall at therunawayhorse.com on my sales page. You can pre-purchase that product now. You can get Breeders' Cup Friday, Breeders' Cup Saturday, or both Breeders' Cup days. And then I'm also covering the full Del Mar meet, just like I always do each year for their fall meet. You can go to therunawayhorse.com and click on the Buy Cards tab at the top of the homepage if you want more details, if you want to pre-purchase that card. And I'll be working on that after the pre-entries come out. And then after they draw the final fields, I'll finish up with my wagering strategies, and I'll send those full cards out after that. And I'll send those out through email. And you can read all of my Breeders' Cup prep race handicapping articles over at todaysracingdigest.com in their news section. Now, the final weekly top 10 Longines Breeders' Cup rankings for the Classic, and they had those rankings for 11 weeks of voting. Each voter, he rated the top 10 Classic contenders each week on a scale of 1 to 10 points, with 10 being the best and then the 1 the lowest. So the final Breeders' Cup Classic rankings for the top 10, based on those votes, Fierceness is first in the rankings, City of Troy second, Forever Young third. Then we have Sierra Leone 4th, Highland Falls 5th, Subsanador 6th, Ushba Tesoro 7th, Arthur's Ride 8th, Tapit Trice 9th, and then Newgate 10th. We did have one Breeders' Cup Classic prep race since I last updated this video, and that was the Japan Dirt Classic on October 2nd. And Forever Young, the favorite in that race, he ran his record to 6 for 7. He won that race by 1 1/4 lengths. That was a 1.25 mile race, and the final time was 2:04.10 seconds. He stalked the pace that day, edged clear, nice victory there, and that was his first start since finishing a close third in that 3-horse photo in the Kentucky Derby in May. Also earlier this year, he won the Grade 3 Saudi Derby, Grade 2 UAE Derby. So the 1.25 mile distance, not a problem. There's a good sign, too, that he showed some tactical speed in that Japan Dirt Classic victory. Now we have 2 other horses from Japan targeting the Breeders' Cup Classic this year. Derma Sotogake, he was second in the 2023 Breeders' Cup Classic, but he is 0 for 3 this year, and he didn't hit the board in any of those races. He was 5th in the Grade 1 Saudi Cup in February, 6th in the Grade 1 Dubai World Cup in March, and then he returned in Japan on September 25th, and he finished 5th. And then the other horse from Japan targeting the Classic, Ushba Tesoro, he was 5th in the 2023 Breeders' Cup Classic. He's a closer, and he ended up finishing 2nd in all 3 of his starts this year, including the Grade 1 Saudi Derby, the Saudi Cup, and then the Grade 1 Dubai World Cup. And that Saudi Cup was at 1 1/8 miles around 1 turn, and the Dubai World Cup at 1 1/4 miles. So Ushba Tesoro is a late runner. he's going to need some pace help in the Breeders' Cup Classic. And then we have one other overseas hopeful for the Breeders' Cup Classic this year, City of Troy for trainer Aidan O'Brien. This is a 3-year-old Justify colt. He's 6 for 7 lifetime, and he has 4 Group 1 wins. And it looks like he should be one of the Breeders' Cup Classic favorites for Aidan O'Brien. He's been targeting this Breeders' Cup Classic for quite some time, and I just mentioned when they were voting on the Breeders' Cup Classic top contenders, he's ranked 2nd behind Fierceness. And then speaking of Fierceness's trainer, Todd Pletcher, he has confirmed that his Grade 2 Woodward winner, Tapit Trice, is going to target the Breeders' Cup Classic. And then, of course, his top Classic hopeful is Fierceness. And Fierceness had some recent workouts. He breezed 5 furlongs in 102.50 seconds, 3rd best of 8 at Saratoga. That was on October 3rd. And then he worked a 5 furlong bullet in a minute 101.40 seconds, best of 5 works. That was on October 10th. So the key to Fierceness, I think, if he can draw an outer post and he can get into a nice early pressing rhythm and the pace isn't too quick, when those situations arise, he typically runs a quality race. Now, Sierra Leone, he finished 2nd behind Fierceness in the Jim Dandy Stakes, a length behind him. And then in the Travers Stakes, he was 3rd. Fierceness won that one. Torpedo and a 3-year-old filly was 2nd. But Sierra Leone a clear 3rd there, trying to rally from off the pace. He's had a couple recent works. He breezed 5 furlongs in 101.80, 4th best of 11 at Saratoga on September 28th. And then he moved over to Belmont Park and he worked a half mile in 48.80 seconds, 20th best of 168. That was on October 5th. So just like Ushba Tesoro for Sierra Leone, he's going to need some pace help in the Breeders' Cup Classic. So some other horses pointing to the Breeders' Cup Classic, Highland Falls, we mentioned he was a win and you're in. He won the Grade 1 Jockey Club Gold Cup, so he's in the classic field for trainer Brad Cox. And he breezed 4 furlongs in 48.60 seconds, 23rd best of 82. That workout was at Churchill Downs on October 4th. Another horse with a win and you're in for the classic, Subsanador. He won the California Crown. That was a recent victory for trainer Richard Mandela. He hasn't worked since that race. He should work soon. Arthur's Ride for trainer Bill Mott. He was 1st in the Grade 1 Whitney going wire to wire. That was a win and you're in for the classic. And he worked 5 furlongs in 102.24, 6th best of 8 at Saratoga on October 5th. And then Newgate for trainer Bob Baffert. He's targeting the classic. He returned from a layoff and he finished 2nd in the Grade 1 California Crown. He won the Grade 1 Big Cap at Santa Anita at 1.25 miles earlier this year. And then some other possible Breeders' Cup Classic starters. Crupi for trainer Todd Pletcher. He's a late runner. He was 3rd in the Grade 2 Woodward in his last start. His stablemate Tapit Trice won that race. Mixto for trainer Doug O'Neill. He won the Grade 1 Pacific Classic at Del Mar at 1.25 miles. That was a win and you're in for the Breeders' Cup Classic. In his most recent workout, 5 furlongs, a minute .60. That was 18th best of 68 at Santa Anita on October 6th. Next, he's one that runs in long distance dirt races, 1.5 mile specialist. And also the Breeders' Cup Turf is possible for him as well. And he had a recent workout, half mile, 50.40 seconds, 41st best of 50. And that was at Turfway Park on October 8th. So they're going to decide where they want to run him in the coming weeks. Pyrenees for trainer Cherie DeVoe. He was 2nd in the Grade 1 Jockey Club Gold Cup. Half mile in 46.60 seconds, 2nd best of 50 at Keeneland on October 6th. So that was a relatively fast work. And then Seize the Gray, mentioned him for trainer D. Wayne Lucas. He's possible for the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile. He had a 5 furlong bullet in 59 flat, best of 15 at Churchill Downs on October 3rd, his most recent workout. Senor Buscador, he was unplaced in the California Crown. He has back class. He's a late runner. He would need pace help. He hasn't worked since the California Crown. And then Skippylongstocking. He was 2nd as the beaten favorite in the Grade 2 Woodward Stakes. He likes 1 mile and 1/8 is probably his best distance. And he ran in the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile last year and he finished 3rd. We'll have to see if they go for that race or they try to go for the Classic. So for bonus daily free picks, you can go over to the runawayrhorse.com, my personal website, and check out my Better Bets blog tab at the top on my homepage, giving out a free pick from around the country each day. I gave out winners from Keeneland on October 9th and October 10th. And then I'm also posting daily Keeneland Fall Meet Stakes videos on my YouTube channel. And through the first 11 stakes races at Keeneland this fall, my top choices have 6 wins, 2 seconds, and a show finish. And you can check out the description below in this video for links to articles that I referenced in this video. And then don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share if you like these videos. And that'll do it for this video. And until next time, good luck at the races.